Welcome guys, today I'm starting a new channel on my series, and it's basically where I present facts or series or something, just as long as it's fun or entertaining to watch. Now this is going to be the first video. Of course in the new videos or other videos like this one, I won't be expecting a lot, I'll just be getting into it. So yeah, and I also started doing this series because we reached 100 videos. Like first you got me to 100 subscribers. Now I'm at 100 videos too, which is amazing. Like so amazing. Like it's hard to comprehend for me. Like I'm so amazed. So yeah, let's get started into this thing. Fact number one: each of the main characters in SpongeBob SquarePants was inspired by one of the seven deadly sins. The seven deadly sins are actually greed, envy, sloth, pride, wrath, gluttony, and lust. Now each character in there represents each character represents one of them. Now Mr. Krabs represents greed. This is by far the most obvious comparison that can be made. The avarice of Eugene Krabs is made painfully clear throughout the series. He is constantly thinking of ways to turn a profit, even if it involves taking advantage of his own friends or putting them in harmful situations. In one episode, he sings a song called "If I Could Talk to Money," and there's even a Wikipedia page devoted to complying all of his greedy plans. Now Plankton, he resembles Envy, another no-brainer too. With all of Krabs' wealth and good fortune, there has been an equal amount of hard luck and failure for his arch-rival, Sheldon Plankton. Plankton owns a struggling restaurant called the Chum Bucket, which nobody eats there. Poor Plankton, and is consumed with the desire to achieve the success of his adversary. His life's goal is to steal the Krabby Patty formula from his crabs opponent and drive his primary competitor out of business. Now Patrick resembles a sloth. The guy lives under a rock, for crying out loud. If that isn't enough to convince you, in the episode Big Pink Loser, Patrick is given an award for doing absolutely nothing longer than anyone else. He then proceeds to go back under his rock to protect his title. Sandy represents pride. The fact that Sandy Chicks is from Texas alone should almost be enough for this one. She's a squirrel that is very proud of her heritage, so much so that in one episode she nearly moved back home. Sandy also takes a great deal of satisfaction in being the only land critter living down in Bikini Bottom among all fishy folk. Though generally a good natural individual, Sandy is quick to spout off about the greatness of the Lone Star State or to show off her athleticism in a karate match or a weightlifting contest. When SpongeBob blew up his hands with a fake, it wasn't steroids, it was just fake rubbers and stuff. Squidward represents wrath. Squidward Tentacles has no qualms about expressing his negative outlook on life, whether it be by describing how much he hates his job at Krusty Krabs, or through outward disdain for his two obnoxious neighbors. He is portrayed as a general failure who refuses to acknowledge his own personal flaws. This constant self-denial manifests itself in a sarcastic sense of humor and resentment towards the society that doesn't appreciate his creativity and skills. His clarinet skills. Yeah, of course. Gary, that snail, represents gluttony. Now this one's a bit trickier, so who have watched a great deal of the series will have noticed a number of jokes about SpongeBob having to remember to feed his pet snail. To be honest, Gary does not do a whole lot besides eating and meowing, and the meowing is often due to the fact that he's hungry. Once, when SpongeBob hadn't fed his pet, Gary is shown eating part of their couch. In another episode, Gary runs away from home because SpongeBob forgot to feed him for a while. Another time, when SpongeBob had amnesia, Gary ate a year's supply of snail food and became morbidly obese. If you don't know what that means, he became super fat. This proves beyond a doubt that when he is left to his own devices, Gary would rather do nothing but eat. And now, finally but not least, SpongeBob, which resembles Lust. Our final analogy is probably the least apparent, because SpongeBob, however, the alternative definition for lust is a simple, a passionate desire for something. And you all know that SpongeBob is always desire for something, and he feels uh, happiness in his heart always. In this sense of the word, I cannot be denied that our absorbent yellow friend is an extremely lustful creature. SpongeBob has a lust for life that is incomparable to most other cartoon characters. I mean, compare him to Patrick, he just sleeps under his rock. He yearns for affections of both friend and foe alike, is eager to please, and will often stop at nothing to complete a task. The voice of SpongeBob SquarePants is married to the woman who voices Plankton's computer wife Karen, Tom Kenny, and his wife Jill Talley. Now Tom Kenny is SpongeBob. He does SpongeBob's voice, and Jill Talley does Karen's voice, and they're married in real life. No joke, in real life. And they also Karen also, or should I say Jill Talley, she also landed minor acting roles in films such as Little Miss Sunshine and Sky High. The only main character on SpongeBob SquarePants that is actually a fish is Mrs. Puff. I mean, look at SpongeBob is a sponge, Patrick is a starfish. That doesn't count. Squidward is a squid. Sandy is a freaking squirrel. Mr. Crab is a crab. That doesn't count as fish. Plankton is just a plankton. Plankton is like a virus. It's not a cockroach, though. Mrs. Puff is the only one. Now, you might be like, what about Mr. Krabs' daughter? She's a fish. No, she's a whale. There's a big difference. They're mammals. A species of mushrooms was named after SpongeBob SquarePants. A new species of mushroom has the name Spongiforma squarepantsi. Strangely enough, this new species isn't the only mushroom in the Spongiforma genus. Even though squarepantsi is a fungus, not a sponge, the researchers were inspired to name it after SpongeBob because it looks like a sea sponge. Squidward is an actual octopus, not a squid. Yes, his name is more Yes, his name is counterintuitive, but the show's creator, Stefan Hillenberg, he's a marine biologist who created the show, asserts that SpongeBob's cranky neighbor is definitely an octopus. Someone really ought to straighten this out with his voice actor, though. Another fact that settles this debate is that Squidward possesses an octopus's rounded head, not the distinctive pointy mantle of a squid. As for his misleading name, honestly, would Octoward tentacles have a better ring to it? Also, if you really think about it, we should technically be calling Squidward a hexapus, since he only has 6 legs, and not the usual 8. Octet means 8 in Greece, but when you combine it with octopus, it becomes like octopus, sexapus, and hexapus. Anything you want. Since he only has 6 legs and not the usual 8, Hillenberg said this choice was made to keep the character from appearing too bulky. SpongeBob SquarePants has worked at the Krusty Krab for over 31 years. This indicates in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie by our heroes 374 consecutive Employee of the Month awards. That may seem like a long time, but the funny thing is, for SpongeBob it isn't. Sponges can live up to 500 years. The creator of SpongeBob SquarePants was once a marine biologist. Stephen Hillenberg, which I told you about earlier, first came up with the idea for SpongeBob back in 1984 while teaching and studying marine biology at what is now the Orange County Ocean Institute. While at that school, Hillenberg developed a love of animation and produced his own comic book called The Intertidal Zone. His comic book, yeah, don't ask me what that means. It's the name of the comic book. His comic book starred many sea creatures with human characteristics, many of which served as an inspiration for characters on the future TV show. The co-host of the comic, Bob the Sponge, originally resembled an actual sea sponge much more closely than he does now. SpongeBob, or should I say Tom Kenny, is also the voice of Dog on Cat Dog and the mayor of Townsville on the Powerpuff Girls. He's also done voice work for Rocko's Modern Life, Dragon Ball Z, Futurama, The Fairly Odd Parents. He also lent his talents to Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and he'll be playing Rabbit in the new Winnie the Pooh movie. SpongeBob SquarePants' hometown is based on a real place. Bikini Bottom, where SpongeBob lives in a pineapple under the sea, is a fictional underwater city, but it is set beneath the ocean just off the coast of an actual island, Bikini Atoll. I wonder where the name came from, you know? It's part of the Republic of the Marshall Islands. It is made completely of coral and surrounds a central lagoon. However, according to the show's creator, much of Bikini Bottom itself was actually based on the city of Seattle. And last but not least, SpongeBob's birthday is July 14, 1986. Time is shown on SpongeBob's driver's license, which would make him 13 years old at the time of the show's premiere. However, creator Stephen Hillenburg has gone on the record saying that SpongeBob has no real specific age. He is just old enough to live on his own and to be going to boarding school. The character was originally intended to be named SpongeBob. Unfortunately, this name was already copyrighted by a mop. A mop, for crying out loud. An actual mop. And he wasn't even allowed to. Could you imagine, like, SpongeBob SquarePants? That would sound awful. I'm glad it was copyrighted or something, because you don't want to watch SpongeBob SquarePants. You want to watch SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, they just changed the Y into a B, and that's it. Now, this will do it for today's fact video or anything. I'm not sure what I should call this series. If you have any idea what it should be called, please comment, because yeah, I'm not making the playlist until I get a good name. Or like the video name, I might change it. I'm not sure. Like, it might be a bad name, and then I'm like, it's probably gonna be like facts about SpongeBob, like the title says. Probably. I'm not sure if the title that you're actually seeing right now says SpongeBob facts, because I'm actually recording the video right now, and it's on 2015, and it's probably gonna be up after 2 days, because it's gonna be heavily edited. You probably just saw the editing, but I'm in the end of the video telling you that, but it doesn't matter. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!